A hearing in a high-profile case that garnered national attention. Aiden Fucci went before a judge today ahead of tomorrow's penalty phase. Fucci was convicted of killing a beloved daughter, sister, and friend, Tristan Bailey. Tristan was only 13 years old when she was killed.
And today, letters were released showing an outpouring of love for Tristan. Dozens of friends, family members, even strangers wrote about Tristan's impact.
A friend of the family wrote, "To stab someone with a knife is pure hatred. To do it 114 times is pure evil. My poor young daughter came to the realization of just how evil someone can be in this world."
A community member in St. Johns County said, "I was deeply affected by this tragedy. I own a small business and have tried to help raise money in honor of her name. This affected me mentally and emotionally and still does to this day."
And a person who lives in the United Kingdom wrote to the judge, "Even though I was on the other side of the world, I slept with a knife under my pillow that night, and I have never again felt as safe in the world as I did the night before Tristan was murdered." Those letters are pretty powerful, aren't they? And they will be read in court during the penalty phase that begins tomorrow. But the convicted teenage killer already faced a judge today.
Right. On your side, Zach Wilcox joins us live from the St. Johns County Courthouse. And Zach, today's hearing was to see if some of his attorney's requests would be met or not, right?
Yeah, Jessica, we found out Friday night that Fucci's defense attorney was trying to get some of his prior bad acts thrown out before they ever had a witness take the stand. Those are bad acts before and after his arrest for first-degree murder. And ultimately, the judge decided that, well, he's going to be the judge of that, and he can determine just how much of that is relevant in this case. So tabling that for right now. And we found out that the prosecution intended to bring up some of his history in school, and the defense attorney pointed out that all of those situations had been resolved either with a detention or a suspension of some sort, never getting law enforcement involved. And so all of that, of course, before the first-degree murder. And then after that, we've over the past couple of years found out from jail reports that he's had some issues in jail as well, with accusations of him threatening and extorting other inmates and wardens. So the defense attorney trying to get those thrown out on a similar kind of argument here that he's never been tried or convicted on any of those allegations, so they really shouldn't be relevant for this trial. And then we heard from the prosecution that they're not trying to convict him on any of those things, just trying to establish a history of conduct for Fucci. And using that as part of the factors that the judge will have to consider, his ability to be rehabilitated and some of the other factors going into that, his ability to recognize risk and consequences, and ultimately the judge saying that there's not going to be a jury as part of the sentencing hearing, and so there won't be a jury there to be swayed by things that maybe shouldn't be brought up in the courtroom.
The court is a little more familiar with the rules, and I can assign the particular weight that any particular testimony gives, or I can disregard it if I find it to be matters that the court should not or could not legally consider.
Now, the defense attorney was also trying to get a psychologist who the prosecutor intended to bring up to the stand not included, because that psychologist hasn't had a chance to one-on-one medically examine Fucci, but ultimately the judge denied that request as well, and they will be having a psychologist on both sides come to the stand. So really not a ton of changes here, and things should go on as scheduled tomorrow morning, with the judge just considering things on a case-by-case basis with how relevant they are to this first-degree murder case. In St. Johns County, Zach Wilcox, First Coast News, on your side.